Right now at 5, it's National Library Week, and our very own Carrie Worthen takes us to Pitt State's Axe Library to learn more.
We've got some light showers falling across the area, and this is just the beginning of a nearly all-day rain event. We'll talk about those showers coming up.
And our very own Amber Jenkins heads out to Woodson County to learn more about what happens after a train derailment.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So another cool start to the day for us, and this one is a rainy start to the day for us as well, as we've got showers across the area. Skywatch Storm Tracker showing them scattered around the region. Some of these are a little bit on the heavy side, and a couple of these could even bring some rumbles of thunder as we go through the day. So again, very scattered, not everybody getting rain all at once, but we've got more of it on the way as this system continues to spin in out of Oklahoma, and we'll continue to see rain showers throughout today. So let's take a look at the future track. Here we are at 9 a.m. We got some showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms by noon. A few more showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, and these will continue into the afternoon and evening hours. I think the future track's going a little bit light on the rain, but it will persist through the evening hours. In fact, let's take a look at those precipitation chances. Our best chances, of course, through the morning, when we're going to see some of the heavier, more organized rain. And then as we go into the afternoon, those chances will eventually taper off. And we'll stay dry for the majority of our Friday. It won't be until later in the evening and overnight that we'll see additional showers and thunderstorms roll into the area. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking back to the south. We've got some wet roadways out there. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 because, well, it's been raining and it will continue to do so. Got some light rain in Joplin, 53 degrees right now, northeast breeze at 6 miles an hour. And across the region, it's again chilly. 50 in Iola, 54 in Parsons, 55 Chautauqua, Miami, 52 Neosho, and 53 in Carthage. Get our day started, showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two, and by late morning, early afternoon, we could see some wind gusts in that 20-25 mile an hour range. But take a look at this, much cooler than what we were yesterday, lower 50s by late morning, which means we're only really looking to push upper 50s, maybe a couple of 60-degree readings out there. Breezy conditions through about 2, 3 o'clock, and then the winds will start to let up, but we hold on to scattered showers. And like I said, as we head into the evening, though, those showers will start to clear out. We're left with mostly cloudy skies and a fairly cool evening as we drop back down to 45 for our low. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy through the day, a pinch warmer into the mid-60s. Evening showers could hold on into early Saturday morning, then they're out of here. And we've got pretty decent days lined up for us as we kick off next week, as temperatures really start to rebound back to normal and even above normal by the middle of next week. But then there's more rain chances following that. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A church in downtown Joplin gets an unexpected guest on Wednesday. Reports came in about 4:20 of a pickup truck overturning into a building at 4th and Pearl in Joplin. Authorities discovered a U-Haul pickup on its side where it had taken out the church sign and part of the brick wall near the front steps. Pickup was traveling east on 4th and clipped a guy wire tension cable with the right outside mirror. The driver reacted, lost control, and crashed. The driver and passenger were transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. On Wednesday, Missouri senators approved a nearly $50 billion operating budget. That's $4.2 billion more than what the House passed weeks ago. The budget now returns to the House, where lawmakers are calling for negotiations between chambers to come to a compromise. Most of the debate is about 2 amendments that sought to insert anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion language, as well as funding for public libraries. The legislature has a May 5th deadline to complete the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly rejected a human smuggling bill that could have criminalized giving a ride or other services to undocumented people. Governor Kelly said she agrees that immigration needs to be addressed, but that the bill would have unintended consequences, including hurting the agriculture workforce. Well, it is National Library Week. KOAM's Carrie Worthen joins us live in studio with more. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Tanya. This week not only celebrates books, but the people who work in libraries. Libraries are full of stories in a variety of ways, from books, audiobooks, ebooks, and more. The theme for National Library Week is "There's so much more to the story." And Pitt State's Dean of Library Services says this week is to celebrate more than just books.
National Library Week is an opportunity for libraries to make connections with people. We celebrate libraries. We celebrate people that work in libraries, and of course we always want to try to encourage more use of libraries by our local communities.
The library is open 7 days a week, and anyone from the public can access it.
Do they have a strict whisper policy in the library there at Pitt State, Carrie?
So that's funny because whenever I showed up and I was like, he said, where do you want to do the interview? And I was like, well, we can do it somewhere else. I don't need to be quiet. He's like, oh no, that they're not doing that no more. No one's quiet in libraries anymore. So we just did it right in front of the students who are studying. So it was really funny.
That is funny. All right, thanks, Carrie. Woodson County, Kansas is dealing with the aftermath of a train derailment that happened on Monday. KOAM's Amber Jenkins went to the site and spoke to the Woodson County Sheriff.
Kansas Highway Patrol says the 63-year-old driver of a semi-trailer failed to yield at a railroad south of Yates Center near Buffalo. A Union Pacific train carrying 97 cars collided with the semi.
We're very fortunate that he even survived it. I don't know how he survived, but it was only by the grace of God.
The train was transporting cottonseed, plastic pellets, and fertilizer. The fertilizer could be hazardous, according to Sheriff McCullough. The cleanup crew is taking precautions to make sure if the hazardous material is present.
Then we had outside sources from hazmat teams coming in. KDHE, EPA came in. They worked through the night. I think they've been working through the night straight through.
The Union Pacific train hauled 97 cars in total. 21 of them were damaged or destroyed. After everything's said and done, they're going to remove a lot of the stuff that's in the cars. Probably they're going to have to scrap a lot of this stuff. So they have people out here cutting this stuff up, and so we've been kind of patrolling it a lot, keeping an eye on what's going on. The intersection at the tracks is set to reopen by the end of the week. Train derailments are not common in Woodson County, but the sheriff's office is proud of its response time and handling of the derailment.
I don't think anything could have been better. We've never had an incident like this.
Reporting in Yates Center, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
KOAM received a statement from the EPA. They say crews recovered approximately 1,000 gallons of fertilizer from the spill and delivered it to its intended recipient. They also say there was not any impact on the South Owl Creek, or a nearby residence. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, we meet a pair of high school seniors who've done almost everything together since they were born, and that includes playing sports. Plus, in protest against what is happening in Missouri against trans rights, students at a Columbia, Missouri school stage a walkout. And in honor of World Vaccination Week, we learn what vaccinations you should be getting. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Well, the Missouri Southern Lions are tied for first place in the MIAA softball standings heading into the final weekend of the regular season. Southern is 19-3 in the league, even with Central Oklahoma for the top spot in the league. This weekend is a big one for the Lions. They play 2 against Newman on Friday before facing Central Oklahoma for a pair of games on Saturday. UCO plays Pitt State Friday. All Missouri Southern has to do is win more games than Central Oklahoma this weekend, and they'll earn their first MIAA title since 2001.
One of our biggest strengths, I would say, is the family camaraderie that we have on this team. You know, we play together, and you don't get that everywhere you go, and I think that is a special thing because we have each other's backs on and off the field, and so when we show up to play, you see it.
We've got leadership, we've got experience, we're a tight-knit group, and you know, moving forward, I think clutch hits, you know, winning championships comes down to good pitching, flawless defense, and clutch hits, and I think we can do it. You know, we've got to keep things simple in our one-pitch approach.
A pair of Columbus High School seniors have pretty much done everything together since they were born. Addie and Aubrey Saporito are multi-sport standouts for the Titans. After spending their entire lives competing together, The twins are enjoying their final weeks as teammates before they head their separate ways for college.
Columbus High School seniors Addie and Aubrey Saporito have pushed each other their entire lives.
They're both extremely competitive. Neither of them ever want to be outdone by the other one.
They've helped each other.
If I need to go pitch, then I have a catcher literally sitting on my couch with me. For her, like, I'm constantly drugged. We have a wrestling mat in our basement. I'm constantly down there with her, taking shots. It doesn't give us an excuse to be like, I don't have anyone to go with me, because we have someone. We have to.
And the twins have been side by side through it all.
There's not very many people that get this chance and have this opportunity to be able to play together and do everything together and always have a best friend with them.
I've told them that this will be something that will be important, and memories that they'll always have, and a best friend that they always have that's right there whether they know it or not.
We've been able to confide in each other, and through like the rough games and even the good games, we're like, yes, that was working so good. Or she's like, Aubrey, that curve just spun so hard. But so she's kind of like, we both kind of hype each other up, and we're always there for each other. It means a lot.
After spending their lives together on the court, on the mat, and on the field, this softball season is their final season as teammates. The sisters will go separate ways in college, with Aubrey continuing her softball career at Crowder and Addie moving on to wrestle at Ottawa University.
It's kind of sad, but at the same time, we're both going after this to do what we love. Definitely be pretty weird, but I think we'll get used to it because we're both going to be super busy, and just knowing that we're both in good places and in good hands is also reassuring.
This spring is also the final time the Saporito twins will get to play for their mother, who has led the Columbus softball program since 2011.
I try to push it out of my mind and not think about it until you're asking questions. But yeah, it's definitely something that I've thought about, and just trying to not think about until it's all over with.
She's coached us since we were in T-ball. She's like a mom to half of those girls on that team as well. So I think it definitely has maybe even made our team more of a family.
They're best friends with all these girls. So we've got to grow up with all of them. Jalen has been like a sister to him, all these years. And when I think about it, it's the girls and it's their teammates that, all of them being together is going to be the roughest part, I think.
Columbus is 13-1 this softball season, winning 11 straight games. Titans back on the field tonight for a big CNC doubleheader against Girard. Well, still to come, scientists from around the world gather to embark on a mission to discover 100,000 new marine species. And we're not getting that much rain, but could find a marine species or two in the rainfall. We'll talk about how long it's going to last coming up. Welcome back to KOAM Morning News 5:18 on this Thursday morning. Got some scattered showers out there across the region and some heavier rain back toward the Tulsa area, and even a couple of rumbles of thunder, and that will all be rotating its way into our area as we go through the morning and into the afternoon and early evening hours. So on the future track, it gives us some rough ideas what we're looking at. This rain and even a couple of thunderstorms will hang with us again into the early afternoon and late afternoon and early evening hours, and then it will start to actually clear out of here overnight. Might even see some of the moon this evening. And then as we head into tomorrow, clouds increase, and by the afternoon we've got another batch of showers and a couple of thunderstorms that's going to roll through and really pick up as we head into late evening into the overnight, Friday into Saturday early morning. And then by about the time the sun comes up, the last of this rain should be on its way out of here. So best rain chances, of course, through the morning. They start to taper off as we head through the late afternoon, early evening hours, and then they will pick back up as we head into the late evening hours tomorrow and into the overnight. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line, looking all right so far. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400. A few wet roads out there as we continue to deal with these scattered showers, and you can see the wet roads here at 7th and Range Line, and it is raining. If I can get out of the way, you can see it very clearly there. So remember, these observations come from the airport. It may not be showering at the airport just yet. 53 in Joplin right now, northeast breeze at 6 miles an hour. Across the area, 53 Nevada, Fort Scott, 50 Iola, 54 Chanute Parsons, 55 Chatopa Miami, and 52 in Neosho. Get our day started, bit breezy, could even have some wind gusts 20, 25 miles an hour from late morning, early afternoon. I threw on the little lightning icon because we could have a couple of rumbles of thunder as we go into the late morning, early afternoon. The winds will let up after about 2, 3 o'clock. And we'll still hold on to some showers. We're looking at highs much cooler today, upper 50s for the most part. And we'll stay mostly cloudy for the majority of the evening, eventually dropping back down to a low of 45 degrees. As we look ahead, got the evening showers tomorrow, mid-60s, lower 60s Saturday. Mostly cloudy after that. Then we've got decent weather as we kick off next week. Temperatures start to warm quite nicely back into the upper 70s near 80. And we've got some additional thunderstorm chances as we head into Thursday and Friday of next week. And that'll be enough to cool us back down just a little bit into the upper 60s by next weekend. Well, a group of students in Missouri is speaking out in support of gender-affirming care for transgender youth. This on the same day a judge stepped in to block the Attorney General's emergency rule that would limit access to the health care.
That's what these Rockbridge students are fighting for.
We have voices, we have power, and we have the chance to make change. And now is the time. You don't have to wait until you're an adult to speak your opinion.
Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's regulations restrict both transgender adults and minors from receiving gender-affirming health care.
Denying health care for trans people, I believe it's a basic human right to be able to afford and undergo life-saving treatment.
Dozens of the students spoke out on their personal experiences and why they're taking on the fight against politicians.
And I just want to say to everybody, thank you so much for coming out, supporting everybody, and taking it upon yourself to use your voice, because without our voices, people above us have all of the power.
And with that voice, Stone delivered a message to the Attorney General.
I want you to look around and look at how many people are against this. I want you to see the kids, the adults that have been harmed by this, and how schools are gathering together to speak out against it because it's hurting people. State
lawmakers are also trying to pass legislation that affects the transgender youth.
There's so many restrictions up that it's looking less and less hopeful for trans people in Missouri.
Well, the judge's rule has put the Missouri Attorney General's emergency regulations on hold until at least Monday. Lawyers representing transgender people in the state, as well as healthcare providers, are suing to block it from taking effect. That brings us to our question for you this morning. Should politicians stay out of people's personal decisions? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Make sure you vote through our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, new research shows some sleeping aid gummies may have a potentially dangerous amounts of a specific hormone in them. The journal JAMA published a research letter on Tuesday where researchers tested 25 products labeled as melatonin gummies at an outside lab. Melatonin is a hormone that helps regulate sleep. According to the researchers, 88% of the gummies tested were labeled inaccurately. One of the products actually contained 347% more melatonin than what was listed on the label. A new study finds workplace discrimination could have negative effects on your heart health. Researchers say chronic exposure to discrimination can lead to long-term stress reactions and a higher risk of developing high blood pressure. For the study, they define discrimination as unpleasant treatment because of characteristics like race, sex, or age. Researchers surveyed 1,200 participants for 8 years. And a new study shows physical exercise may help people fight addiction. Researchers looked at 43 existing studies involving 3,000 participants. They found regular exercise was associated with lowered substance use in about 75% of the studies investigating the question. Studies were found to have a high risk of bias, but it's already known that exercise reduces anxiety and depression. It's World Immunization Week, which aims to promote protection against disease through vaccines and if you're not up to date on your routine shots. And now is as good a time as any to catch back up. Mandy Gaither has more on some specific vaccines to consider depending on your age.
Spring has sprung, and health experts say this season can serve as a reminder to protect yourself from potentially dangerous illnesses.
This is often the time we start scheduling our physical exams for the summer and for the fall. So it's a good time to remember that there may be some vaccines that you need just routinely.
Dr. Neha Diaz with Cleveland Clinic says people over 50 should consider getting the shingles vaccine along with a tetanus booster, which should be given every 10 years.
Not only does it prevent against tetanus, it also prevents against diphtheria and pertussis as well. And pertussis is on the rise.
For those over 65 and others who have a medical condition that puts them at higher risk, Diaz says to consider getting a pneumonia vaccine.
The protection is not lifelong and that you may need a booster.
For preteens and teens who weren't already vaccinated as children, Diaz says this group may need vaccines to help protect against hepatitis A and B. She also suggests protecting against meningococcal A and B and getting the vaccine that protects against the human papillomavirus, which guards against some types of future cancers.
The immune response is much better when children are younger, so it's important to vaccinate in as young as you can so that we can have potentially immunity throughout their life.
Well, if traveling this summer, especially out of the country, Via says you may also need an update on some other vaccinations. So she says to check with your doctor. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we've still got some scattered showers across the area, raining in the Joplin area right now, and we'll tell you how long this rain's going to last and how the weekend's shaping up when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Right now at 5:30, Missouri third graders step into the shoes of famous Missourians for an interactive history lesson.
We've got rain showers falling for some of us across the area, and we'll all see scattered rain, maybe even a rumble of thunder today. Talk about how long this rain's going to last and how next week is looking coming up.
Friends and family come together for a World War II veteran celebrating his 96th birthday.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:31. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So we've got some scattered rain showers out there, and of each of our rainy days this week, which commenced Monday night, this is going to be the one with the most rain, if you will, the most consistent rain through the day at least, instead of just on again, off again. Right now, let me skip ahead to the Skywatch Storm Tracker because I forgot to do that. There it is. Got a few scattered showers, and we'll eventually even have maybe a couple of thunderstorms out there, but as we talked about all week, our environment is just not set up for strong or severe storms, so that's some good news there. We got that heavier batch of rain down toward the Tulsa area, and this will continue to lift off to the north-northeast and will impact us through the majority of our Thursday. So as we go through our morning, again, scattered showers, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder. We head into the noon hour. That is continuing across the area. As we head into the early afternoon and then into the early evening hours, this becomes a lot more scattered across the area, and then eventually we'll actually start to see the rain clear out. So our best chances, of course, are now through about 3 o'clock, and then they'll really let up as we get into the evening and overnight. And we'll stay fairly dry for the majority of our Friday, but later in the afternoon, say after about 3, 4 o'clock, those rain chances will start to pick up, and we'll see better rain chances as we go into the overnight Friday into Saturday morning. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range line. It is raining. We've got wet roads from the the KDOT camera rather at 69 and 400. And you can see the rain kind of falling here in that light in Joplin. We're at 53, northeast breeze at 6. Across the area, temperatures look about like this. We've got 50 Iola, 53 Parsons, 55 Chautauqua, Miami, 52 Neosho, and 53 in Carthage and Lamar. We get our day started. Again, showers, a couple of thunderstorms, chilly, lower 50s, and then winds late morning, early afternoon could start gusting 20, 25 miles an hour, but that should only last maybe 4 hours or so. Showers starting to wrap up as we head into the afternoon and early evening hours, and much cooler today. We're talking highs in the upper 50s, maybe a lower 60 reading out there. And as we head into this evening, again, mostly cloudy, rain lets up for a bit, another chilly one for us, lows in the mid 40s. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, some remote workers in Joplin met yesterday to connect with each other in the city that was listed in the second place on the Wall Street Journal's top 10 places for remote workers back in February. Now, events like this are important to connect the remote workers who are in town. According to the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, officials say the central location and housing costs are some of the factors that attract remote workers. A lot of workers come to the area during the transition post-pandemic, according to the chamber officials.
During the transition post-pandemic, allowed everyone to work remotely. So those families at that point in time really looked at their income and cost of living and thought, where could we go to leverage that?
The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce wants to support the remote workers in the area and is providing free day passes to the Joseph Newman Innovation Center in town today. Well, it is National Library Week, and KOAM's Carrie Worthen joins us live in studio with more. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Tanya. This week not only celebrates books, but the people who work in libraries. Libraries are full of stories in a variety of ways, from books, audiobooks, ebooks, and more. The theme for National Library Week is There's So Much More to the Story. Pitt State's Dean of Library Services says this week is to celebrate more than just books.
National Library Week is an opportunity for libraries to make connections with people. We celebrate libraries. We celebrate people that work in libraries, and of course we always want to try to encourage more use of libraries by our local communities.
The library is open 7 days a week, and anyone from the public can access it.
All right, Carrie. What else does the Axe Library there on the campus offer besides books?
So they have rooms where you can go and practice speeches. You can actually record yourself doing speeches. They have tons of seating options, a lot of private places to study. Of course, you can access internet there as long as you're a member. So if you're out in the public and you want to come in and use the library, you have to make sure you are a member so you can access the internet.
And it is open to the public, not just Pitt State students?
Correct, yes. Yeah, they want it to open to everybody. That way they can just help anybody that needs it.
All right, share the knowledge. All right, thank you so much, Carrie. Well, some Carthage, Missouri elementary students stepped into the shoes of famous Missourians. Mark Twain Elementary hosted a live museum event where third graders showcased their knowledge. The students have prepared for the event for months by conducting research, creating costumes, and rehearsing their lines for their presentations. We asked some of the students what their favorite part of what the project was.
About like talking about like my famous Missourians. Pretending to be president and also getting to wear my snazziest suit around here.
Does look good in that snazzy suit. Love it. The event lasted 30 minutes and they did a great job. Well, in Michigan, a woman is honoring her late son by celebrating his birthday in a unique way. She's handing out birthday cards with money inside to strangers and encouraging others to join her. Amaya Kunzinski has the story.
Michelle Ferris lost her son Corbin suddenly in 2020.
He was just my everything.
Corbin drowned on vacation in Lake Michigan. Ferris says it's something she'll never truly get over, but she's learning to live with it.
It takes time. It's a long process.
One of the ways she's processing her pain is by giving back to the community and encourages others to join her.
The idea is to have people give somebody a birthday card in my son's honor and put the amount of money in the card of the age that my son would be turning this year. So this year he would be turning 22.
Inside each card, Ferris places a note explaining who Corbin was and why she's doing this good deed.
It means a lot to have his name be out there and just for people to, you know, say his name and just remember him, that he was here and he mattered.
Although Corbin is gone, he will never be forgotten.
Well, friends and family came to Columbus, Kansas to celebrate the birthday of a World War II veteran yesterday. David Martin turned 96 on Wednesday. Martin served in the Navy and was stationed in Japan. He joined when he was 17. His son says it's great to see him celebrated.
It's great. He's lived this long. He deserves this. He's been there for many years, serving his country and serving the city many years.
The American Legion came to the celebration to hand him an award for being a member for 75 years. That's awesome.
That's incredible.
Well, this morning we're discussing the rights of transgender people.
Trans rights. That's what these Rockbridge students in Columbia, Missouri are fighting for. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's regulations restrict both transgender adults and minors from receiving gender-affirming health care.
Dozens of the students spoke out on their personal experiences and why they're taking on the fight against politicians. And with that voice, Stone delivered a message to the Attorney General. State lawmakers are also trying to pass legislation that affects transgender youth.
And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Should politicians stay out of people's personal decisions? So far, an overwhelming 90% of you say that they should. 10% of you say they should not. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, take part in discussion on our Facebook page.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Dogs from a Texas shelter fly to Michigan in hopes to find their forever homes.
Plus, Iran accuses two journalists who broke the story of Masha Amini's death of conspiring with the United States. We'll have the latest.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. First, here's a live look from inside our KOAM studios. Topping World Watch, police are continuing efforts to uncover mass graves in eastern Kenya. So far, 89 bodies have been found, but there are fears that number could rise. The Kenya Red Cross says it's had reports of more than 200 people missing from one town. Two journalists are indicted in Iran over their coverage of the death of Masha Amini, the young woman who died in morality police custody after being arrested for allegedly not wearing her headscarf properly in public. Her death sparked mass protest in Iran over the oppressive treatment of women. Iran's judiciary confirmed the indictment on Wednesday of two journalists. They've been charged with collaborating with the U.S. on coverage, threatening national security, and creating propaganda against the system. Mount Everest could see even more crowding this spring season. Nepal has issued a record number of permits to those who want to summit the world's tallest mountain. Tourism officials in Nepal say 367 male and 96 female climbers from 65 countries have so far received permission, with the number of American and Chinese mountaineers topping the list. The global team of scientists say they are racing against the clock to find tens of thousands of new species living in the world's oceans before they could go extinct. Gary Baumgarten takes a closer look at why researchers say this project is critically important.
Scientists from around the world are embarking on the largest mission in history to discover new life forms in the ocean before, researchers say, undocumented species are wiped out by overfishing and climate change.
We have global warming, the ocean's losing oxygen, it's acidifying. If that process continues, then we will face another major extinction in the ocean.
The project, called Ocean Census, aims to find 100,000 new marine species over the next decade. It's an unprecedented task when only about 2,000 new ocean organisms are found each year. Research boats and diving teams will travel across and beneath the world's oceans, collecting specimens. Those organisms will then be sent to various labs where scientists will study their DNA and use artificial intelligence to determine if a new species has been discovered.
We can generate that baseline understanding of their genomes, and forevermore there's a record of what that organism's DNA looked like. And this will be really important as we move forward to try to understand what is out there, and are we doing a good job at protecting it.
Scientists say no time can be wasted, adding that humanity relies on oceans and what lives in them for food, medicines, and jobs.
We need people to fall in love with the majesty and the wonder of ocean life if we're going to have any chance of protecting it.
That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:48 on this Thursday morning now. We've got scattered showers across the region. So as you can see, not everybody getting rain all at once, but you can also see there's a bigger batch of rain back down toward Tulsa. And all of this slowly rotating our direction, coming northeast along the turnpike. And that'll continue to bring us showers and maybe even a couple of thunderstorms as we head through the morning and into the afternoon and possibly even early evening hours. So this stuff will stick with us. Here we are at noon, more showers, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder. Starts to die down a little bit by the afternoon hours, and by the late evening we start to clear out from the rain, but that clearing out will be brief as we'll see more showers and thunderstorms as we head into Friday afternoon and evening. So here we are at 2 o'clock, just starting to enter the area from the west, and we see more showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms by 7, and you see we really get some activity going by 10 o'clock. And again, atmosphere environment just not ready for strong or severe storms with this, but a couple of rumbles of thunder possible. And this heavier rain will stay with us overnight Saturday or overnight Friday rather, into very early Saturday morning. And then by sunrise Saturday, it should be gone. Best rain chances, of course, now through the morning and then start to taper off as we head into the late afternoon, early evening hours. And then again tomorrow, we spend the majority of the day dry before rain chances will pick up again in the evening and overnight. Raining in Joplin right now, which you can see from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, and it looks like the KDOT camera has momentarily gone down, but you can see very clearly in the light here that rain falling at a pretty steady pace. We're at 53 in Joplin, northeast breeze at 6 miles an hour. Across the area, we've got 54 Chinook, 55 Chautauqua, Miami, 52 Neosho. We have 54 in Carthage. We get our morning started. It's going to be a little bit on the breezy side, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder by late morning and into the early afternoon. Winds will briefly pick up and could gust 20, 25 miles an hour. We're not going to warm up a lot today. We're talking for the most part upper 50s with the rain out there, maybe a couple of 60-degree readings. Again, rain lets up as we head into the evening and overnight tonight. We stay chilly, back down to 45 for our overnight low. Now, as we look to the week ahead, there it goes. All right, tomorrow, mid-60s, mostly cloudy before the rain. Will be partly cloudy Saturday after the rain clears out, lower 60s. We stay dry as we head through the middle of next week. In fact, look at temperatures warming up nicely, pushing near 80. And then by Thursday and Friday next week, more shower and thunderstorm chances, and that does cool us down just a little bit as well. That's Check Your Forecast. We'll be back with more right after this. But first, here's another live look from inside the KOAM studio.
12 dogs from an overcrowded animal shelter in Texas land in mid-Michigan Wednesday afternoon. They were at risk of being euthanized, but now they sit safe and sound at the Jackson County Animal Shelter. Aaron Bowling has more on their cross-country journey to find their forever home.
Puppies on a plane, touching down in Jackson.
They make a little bit of noise when you first take off, and but normally they go to sleep.
Frank Maresca is a full-time pilot for Dog Is My Co-Pilot.
Well, I really enjoy it. It's very satisfying.
He flew these dogs in from an overcrowded shelter in Texas.
They're saving a lot of animals. To date, we've saved over 26,000 animals.
Once at risk of being put down, they've come to the Jackson County Animal Shelter where there was plenty of room for small dogs.
We're hoping lots of people will come down to adopt some amazing dogs, and hopefully we'll empty this room out again.
And now that these puppies have been checked out by a vet and bathed, they're ready to meet some new families and head home as soon as today.
We're helping our community. We're also helping their community and saving the lives of these dogs. And so, you know, it makes us super happy to be a part.
This is the third trip they've made to Jackson, and the shelter says they could soon hold even more dogs thanks to new renovations and an expansion project that's wrapping up at the shelter.
Right now we're operating on just a fraction of large dog kennels. So that's why we continually have room for small dogs and puppies to do these transports while we're limited on space in our large dog room.
Arriving in mid-Michigan, hoping to land a new leash on life.
And while the Texas puppies are in town, the large dogs at the Jackson County Animal Shelter are discounted to $50. We'll be right back. The American Museum of Natural History is getting an addition. The Richard Gilder Center for Science, Education, and Innovation is set to open to the public next Thursday. The center is about a decade of work and features an addition made to resemble the canyons and caves found out west. But inside this intriguing building are more than 500,000 tiny residents, including moths, butterflies, and leafcutter ants. New parents running on fumes will do anything they can to get a crying baby to calm down. In a video going viral on social media, the British mom discovered a pretty unexpected way to make it happen. 2-month-old baby Axon is in the middle of a crying fit before mom busts out an unusual strategy, soothing him with the not-so-docile tones of rapper Little John's Get Low. The crying stops in an instant as his mother, 27-year-old Melissa Buckley, gently bounces him to sleep.
I liked your caption too. Could you tell I listened to that song a little too much during my pregnancy? But that's interesting, and whatever works, works, right? Well, we've got showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two as we go through the morning. Some gusty winds as well, maybe upwards 20, 25 miles an hour, at least at late morning, early afternoon. Showers will start to wrap up as we head into the evening hours across the area. Highs only in the mid or upper 50s. As we head into this evening, showers are done, mostly cloudy and chilly, down to 45. Get a break in the rain tomorrow until the late evening hours and overnight and into Saturday morning when more showers return. And we start to warm up though as we head through the weekend. Low 60s, clears, well, partly cloudy skies through the majority of next week, and then temperatures reaching near 80 by Wednesday, and then more showers and thunderstorms by Thursday and Friday of next week. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6, a judge blocks a Missouri bill that would restrict access to gender-affirming health care for transgender kids and adults.
Rain continues to fall in the Joplin area, and we'll continue to see showers throughout the majority of our day. We'll tell you how long they're going to last and when we'll start to warm up coming up.
And Missouri senators want to approve a $50 billion state budget, but will it make it past hurdles in the House?
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner, coming up on 6:01 on a Thursday, one day away from Friday. And that is very nice. It means we're that much closer to the weekend, and it's been a very wet week of much needed rain. And as we've mentioned all week, the great thing about all this rain is it has been spread out over the course of several days. So flooding at this point has really not been a concern. And so that's good news. We're getting much needed rain that the ground can actually use and absorb, and we're not dealing with major flooding concerns across the area either. As you can see right now on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, scattered showers all across the area, but more organized batches of showers and even a couple of rumbles of thunder across northeast Oklahoma, and that will continue to lift off to the northeast as the morning progresses, bringing us more showers and again a couple of thunderstorms possible through our day today. So we head into the noon hour. We've still got some showers out there, some heavier rain, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. And as we head into the late afternoon, early evening hours, this becomes a lot more scattered and even isolated. And then eventually it'll start to just completely clear out, but we've got additional rain chances as we head into our Friday evening. So for today, of course, our best chances for rain right now as it's happening, and that'll gradually taper off as we head into the evening hours. And we'll spend most of Friday dry. It'll be late evening overnight that we'll start to actually see those rain chances increase. So rain falling in Joplin right now, 53 with a breeze at 3. It's missing the direction. That's interesting. Well, the wind is at 3 from some direction. Looks like the east. 50, Iola. 54, Chetopa, Miami. 52, Neosho. And 54, Carthage. We get our day started. Showers, a couple of thunderstorms, chilly, low 50s. Winds gust briefly, 20, 25 miles an hour, and those will let up by the afternoon. We're talking highs only in the upper 50s today as well. We'll talk more about your full forecast and about next week's warm-up here in a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A Missouri judge temporarily halts enforcement of a first-of-its-kind rule that would restrict access to gender-affirming health care for transgender kids and adults. The order came just hours before the rule was to take effect. Attorney General Andrew Bailey touted the rule as a way to shield minors from what he describes as experimental medical treatments, though puberty blockers and sex hormones have been prescribed for decades. Opponents claim Bailey sidestepped the GOP-led legislature enacted beyond his authority. Bailey's efforts to crack down on gender-affirming health care come as Republican lawmakers across the country have proposed hundreds of laws aimed at transgender people. On Wednesday, Missouri senators approved a nearly $50 billion operating budget. That's $4.2 billion more than what the House passed weeks ago. The budget now returns to the House, where lawmakers are calling for negotiations between chambers to come to a compromise. Most of the debate is about two amendments that sought to insert anti-diversity, equity and inclusion language, as well as funding for public libraries. The legislature has a May 5th deadline to complete the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly rejects a human smuggling bill that could have criminalized giving a ride or other services to undocumented people. Governor Kelly said she agrees that immigration needs to be addressed, but that the bill would have unintended consequences, including hurting the agriculture workforce. A church in downtown Joplin gets an unexpected guest on Wednesday. Reports came in around 4:20 of a pickup truck overturning into a building at 4th and Pearl in Joplin. Authorities discovered a U-Haul pickup on its side where it had taken out the church sign and part of the brick wall near the front steps. The pickup was traveling east on 4th and clipped a guy wire tension cable with the right outside mirror. The driver reacted, lost control, and crashed. The driver and passenger were transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Woodson County is dealing with the aftermath of a train derailment that happened on Monday. Union Pacific train hauled 97 cars in total. 21 of them were damaged or destroyed. The train was transporting cottonseed, plastic pellets, and fertilizer. The cleanup crew is taking precautions to make sure if hazardous material is present.
After everything's said and done, they're going to remove a lot of the stuff that's in the cars. Probably they're going to have to scrap a lot of this stuff. So they have people out here cutting this stuff up, and so we've been kind of patrolling it a lot, keeping an eye on what's going on.
KOAM received a statement from the EPA. They say crews recovered approximately 1,000 gallons of fertilizer from the spill and delivered it to its intended recipient. They also say there was not any impact on South Owl Creek or nearby residents. The GOP-controlled House has narrowly passed a bill to raise the nation's borrowing cap as the default deadline approaches, but the bill is not likely to become law, with Senate Democrats and the White House opposed to the measure's drastic federal spending cuts. Jared Hill has more.
The bill is passed. House Republicans cheered the approval of a bill that would raise the nation's debt limit by $1.5 trillion, as well as cut federal spending by around $4.5 trillion.
We've done our job. We're the only ones to lift the debt limit to make sure this economy is not in jeopardy.
Passage of the Limit, Save, Grow Act is a major victory for Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, as his caucus tries to push the White House to the negotiating table.
I'm happy to meet with McCarthy, but not on whether or not the debt limit gets extended. That's not negotiable. It would be an absolute crime to not extend the debt limit.
Yesterday, the White House repeated its calls for a clean debt ceiling bill with no conditions after threatening to veto the House Republicans' measure. Meanwhile, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer pronounced it dead on arrival in the Democrat-controlled Senate.
The GOP's Default on America Act does not bring us any closer to avoiding a first-ever default.
The Department of Treasury has employed extraordinary measures to avoid default since the nation hit its borrowing limit back in mid-January. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the country could default on its debt in July, though some analysts say as early as June, if Congress does not raise the debt ceiling. Jared Hill, CBS News.
House Republicans who voted against the bill yesterday were Representatives Ken Buck of Colorado, Andy Biggs of Arizona, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, and Matt Gaetz of Florida. In public statements, all four said they did so out of concerns over the national debt. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, relief for a mysterious ailment.
A 9/11 first responder suffered from a mysterious medical problem for years. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the surprising diagnosis and treatment now giving him relief.
Plus, the battle between the governor of the Sunshine State and the Magic Kingdom heats up as Disney takes legal action against Ron DeSantis. And Chris returns with another look at your forecast and whether these April showers will indeed turn into May flowers. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back, but first, here's a behind-the-scenes live look from right here in the KOAM studio. Topping Nation Watch this morning, Kansas City police shot and killed a man in the city's Argentine neighborhood Wednesday night. The shooting unfolded just before 8:30 p.m. A police spokesperson said it happened after an officer attempted a traffic violation stop in the area. During the stop, a struggle ensued and police later shot and killed the man. One officer suffered minor injuries. Newly released FBI data shows the number of casualties from active shooter situations last year the highest it's been in the past 5 years. According to the report released Wednesday, 100 people died and 213 were wounded in active shootings during 2022. 2021, 103 people were killed in active shooter incidents and 140 wounded. The FBI designated 50 shootings as active shooter incidents last year. 13 of them met the legal definition of a mass killing, 3 or more deaths in a single incident. And that included shootings in Colorado Springs, Highland Park, Illinois, and Uvalde, Texas. The FAA says it is convening an independent safety review team after a string of narrowly averted runway collisions at major airports. The group is set to meet next month with the goal of recommending safety and reliability improvements this fall. The team consists of former FAA officials and a previous head of the National Transportation Safety Board. It also has piloting and air traffic control experts as well as a one-time astronaut. The battle between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the Walt Disney Company took another step forward on Wednesday. The two have been in a heated power struggle for more than a year, and now the fighting moves to the courts. Danya Bacchus has more.
Disney is suing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in federal court, saying the potential Republican presidential candidate is weaponizing the state government against the company. There is no room for disagreement about what happened here, the lawsuit states. Disney expressed its opinion on state legislation and was then punished by the state for doing so. Last year, Disney criticized Florida's parental rights and education law, which opponents call Don't Say Gay, because it prohibits public school instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in grades K through 3.
They do not run this state.
DeSantis and Florida's Republican legislature quickly began stripping Disney's governing authority over the theme park district.
You kick the hornet's nest, things come up. And I will say this, you got me on one thing. This bill does target one company. It targets the Walt Disney Company.
DeSantis appointed a new board for the area and recently suggested punitive changes to the district.
Someone even said, maybe you need another state prison. Who knows?
The federal lawsuit was filed just minutes after the board voided Disney's developmental rights.
Disney picked the fight with this board. We were not looking out for a fight.
Disney claims the action is unconstitutional, while a DeSantis spokesperson says the company is trying to operate outside the bounds of the law. Danya Bacchus, CBS News.
As this back and forth plays out, locals in Orange County are worried they will end up on the hook for any financial fallout. As part of the original agreement from 1967, Disney provides many of its own services, including building roads and funding a fire department. That's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've still got a few scattered showers out there across the area, and we will continue to see rainfall throughout today. We'll talk about how long this rain is going to last and whether or not we'll see normal temperatures again when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 6:16, almost 6:17 on this Thursday. Time for a little weather trivia. We want to know, where are doldrums located? Are they in valleys, at the equator, in deserts, or above the 60th parallel? We'll find out the answer to that question in just a moment. But first, a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. You can see right now quite a bit of shower activity across the region. It is scattered right now, but lots of it out there. And as we look back down toward the Tulsa area, much more organized shower and even some thunderstorm activity, and that will continue to roll on off to the north and east and will give us rain through the majority of our Thursday today. So here's that activity coming in out of Oklahoma. Again, a couple of rumbles of thunder are possible with this, and it's hanging on through the noon hour, and then as we head into the afternoon, it will eventually start to kind of break up, and we'll see a few isolated showers around the region, and then as we head later into the evening, this rain will kick on out of here. But then we'd go and we turn our attention to Friday, and we'll start to see another round of showers and maybe a couple of thunderstorms starting to make their way in by the afternoon, and they'll really start to get going as we head into the evening hours with a cold front that's going to roll through. As it's 10 o'clock, lots of rainfall out there, and that'll be the case as we go through the overnight and into early Saturday morning, and then right around sunrise or so, this activity out of here, and then we'll start to see an opportunity to dry out. Rain chances best, of course, through the morning, and then they'll taper off as we head into the evening, and then tomorrow the majority of our day is dry as we head in the late evening hours and overnight. That's when those rain chances will start to pick up again. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking to the south. The roads are wet. We've seen showers in the Joplin area. Same from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. In fact, still seeing some shower activity up there. Here's our camera at 7th and range line. Cloudy skies, some light rain still falling, 53 degrees. And the wind, I'm not sure why the direction is missing, but I can tell you it's from the east at about 3 miles an hour. Across the area, we got 50 Iola, 54 Chanute, 51 Parsons, 54 Chetopa, Miami, and Carthage, 53 Lamar, Nevada, and 52 in Neosho. And these temperatures aren't really going to move much today. We get our morning start. That's what I'm talking about. Low 50s, very slow temperature movement here. We'll see the showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, and we've got the little wind icons here because roughly between about 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. we could see some occasional wind gusts in that 20 to 25 mile an hour range. Rain starts to clear out later. Some of us getting those mostly cloudy skies, some light showers. Highs today really not making it out of the upper 50s, but a couple of 60-degree readings are possible. As we head into the evening, the rain stops. We stay mostly cloudy, and we'll eventually drop back down to a low right around 45 degrees. So another chilly evening for us. All right, back to our question real quick. Where are doldrums located? Well, if you happen to pick B at the equator, you would be correct. In fact, doldrums are the result of hot air at the equator rising upwards and then moving north to south due to cooling. And this leads to very calm winds, and in some cases, the winds just straight up stopping in some cases. All right, mid-60s tomorrow, evening showers, morning showers for Saturday. Then we'll have partly cloudy skies, lower 60s for us through the weekend and partly cloudy. We'll hang on to partly cloudy skies through the middle of next week, but check out what temperatures do. Start to gradually warm back up to normal and then above normal, because normal is just not what we do in the 4 states. We're pushing near 80 Wednesday and Thursday. Then we get some additional thunderstorm chances Thursday into our Friday, and that does start to bring the temperatures down just a little bit. We gradually drop to the mid-70s and then to the upper 60s as we head into next weekend. So lots of much-needed rain chances out there and a much-needed break so we can enjoy at least a little bit of the warm weather. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, exercise seems to help people with drug problems. That's according to Canadian researchers who looked at dozens of studies involving more than 3,000 people. They found 75% of the data they reviewed showed a decrease in substance use following the physical activity intervention. Scientists say increased awareness of one's body, health, and fitness may be a reason for the decrease. Adding immunotherapy to chemotherapy treatment strongly improves survival rates for babies with leukemia. Those are the findings of new clinical trial results published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Researchers say the added treatment also leads to fewer side effects. And new evidence that playing music keeps your brain sharp. Researchers in China found older musicians outperform their non-musician peers and were even at the same level as younger non-musicians when it came to certain brain functions. Researchers say playing music makes older adults better listeners by preserving youthful neural patterns. A firefighter who suffered from a mysterious medical problem for years after 9/11 is finally getting answers. As Bradley Blackburn explains, his condition has an unusual name and a surprising treatment.
On September 11, 2001, firefighter Sidney Martin rushed to Ground Zero as part of the fire department's hazmat unit.
You had 300, 600 guys running in and thousands of people running down the stairs.
He was trapped in the pile that day and badly injured. Eventually, he needed major surgery on his back with an incision over a foot long.
This is an intense surgery. Yes.
The wound healed, but there was something strange. The muscles around the scar constantly twitched, causing pain. Doctors had no explanation.
I felt like I was working on my back 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it restricted my breathing because I was in spasms.
Strong painkillers didn't help. It took a toll on his daily life. But 2 years ago, he came to NYU Langone Center for Movement Disorders.
Sydney's the first one that we've seen here.
Where Dr. Pat Drummond diagnosed what's called scar dancing syndrome, a condition only known to medicine for a few years.
We believe it's due to an irritation of the nerves around where the surgical scar was.
It's rare, but the treatment is surprisingly familiar.
1, 2, 3.
He receives large Botox injections deep in his back muscles to paralyze them.
It just stops it. It just...
For Martin, the relief is also emotional.
I'm good. When my dance partner says I'm sitting this one out, I'm good.
A 9/11 firefighter who finally solved a mysterious problem, and he's not turning back. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Doctors say his case is severe, but scar dancing syndrome could be more widespread and undiagnosed. Martin hopes others will hear his story and get the help they need. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got some scattered showers across the area, and they will continue through the day, maybe even a rumble of thunder or two, and some gusty winds possible between roughly 10 and 2, about 20-25 miles an hour. As we head into the afternoon, temperatures don't really move much. We're looking at getting into the upper 50s, maybe a couple of 60-degree readings. As we go through the afternoon and evening hours, the showers will start to break up, and then eventually they will stop. We'll be left with mostly cloudy skies, dropping back to lows right around 45 degrees. As we look ahead, we'll be dry most of our Friday, but by tomorrow evening, more showers, couple of thunderstorms rolling through, say after about 7 o'clock, and continuing until about 4 or 5 a.m. on Saturday. Partly cloudy Saturday, mid-60s Friday, low 60s through the weekend. Then we'll dry out for just a little bit, at least for the first half of next week, and temperatures will get an opportunity to warm up back to normal and even slightly above normal as we approach the 80-degree mark by Wednesday. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6:30, crack open a good book and celebrate National Library Week. KOAM's Carrie Worthen takes us to PSU's Axe Library to get a better read on this observance.
We've got some wet roadways out there as we continue to see scattered showers across the area as we continue this week of much needed rainfall across the area. We'll talk about today's showers when we get a brief break in the next round of rain coming up.
And the FFA uses its green thumb to make a little green with the annual plant sale in Neosho, Missouri.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:30 on the dot. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's another chilly start for us out there. We've got rain across the area, scattered for now. We'll get a bit more rain as the day progresses. And as we've talked about all week long, this has been some much needed rain. We talked about Chanute and the drought conditions that they've been dealing with up there. Drought situation across the entire region still very bad, and we still need a lot of rain to make up for what we did not get at the end of last year. So while this batch is not going to make up for what we haven't gotten, it certainly helps out a lot across the area. You can see those scattered showers across the region and some more organized shower activity back across northeast Oklahoma toward Tulsa. All of this continuing with this low pressure system across Oklahoma. That's going to push some more rain showers and even a couple of thunderstorms our way, which could bring some heavy rain here and there. And again, much needed rain for the area. We go through the morning, scattered showers, couple of thunderstorms through the day. We get into the noon hour, still hanging on. As we go into the afternoon, these showers begin to break up a little bit and become more isolated, and then they'll pause as we head into the overnight hours and into our Friday. So our best rain chances, of course, obviously now as the rain is falling, and then they will taper off as we head into the evening, and then we'll spend the majority of our Friday dry, and we'll see those rain chances increase as we head into the evening. Got wet roads on the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, and from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400 just south of Pittsburgh. Quick look at temperatures around the region. We've got 54 Joplin, 53 Pittsburgh, 51 Parsons, and 54 in Miami. Rain, maybe a couple of thunderstorms through the morning. Could see some winds gusting upwards 20-25 miles an hour, but those will let off by the late afternoon. Highs today only pushing the upper 50s. Warm weather is on the way and more rain chances next week. We'll talk about all of that in a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, this week marks National Library Week, and libraries across the 4 states encourage you to pop in and grab a book or two, and maybe thank the staff for everything they do for the community. KOAM's Carrie Worthen joins us live in studio this morning with more. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, Tanya. This week not only celebrates books, but the people who work in libraries. The theme for National Library Week is There's So Much More to the Story. In stories-filled libraries, floor to ceiling and wall to wall. From books to audiobooks, ebooks, and more, you can find your story at your local library.
National Library Week is an opportunity for libraries to make connections with people. We celebrate libraries. We celebrate people that work in libraries, and of course we always want to try to encourage more use of libraries by our local communities.
Libraries are full of stories in a variety of ways, from books, audiobooks, ebooks, and more.
We do everything from trying to tutor, provide information literacy skills to people, spaces for people to do the work, particularly our students as well as our faculty.
The theme for National Library Week is There's So Much More to the Story. Pitt State's archivist Steve Cox knows just how much more.
There's a lot here. We've got a really large storage area where everything is kept in a climate-controlled environment, but to really focus on some of the hidden collections that we have, we've got a very large collection, two collections actually, of pulp science fiction books written from the 40s up through the 90s. But our strengths are the political history of Southeast Kansas and the mining history.
Cox has been with the library for the past 8 years and is now retiring at the end of the school year, ending this chapter but starting a new one.
My wife and I are going to do a lot of traveling. We've done a lot of domestic traveling, but we're hoping to get overseas. Our first trip shortly after I retire is going to England and France, so we're looking forward to that.
And if the only way you can travel is through books, Pitt State's Axe Library has just that for you.
Axe Library is just a great place to work.
The library is open 7 days a week and anyone from the public has access to it.
Well, Carrie, when is the last time you read a good book?
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like I have not made a priority to read. I'm so busy between work and kids, and I like to be outdoors during the nice weather. I have not had time to read a good book.
But you read with your kids.
I do read, yes. So they like bedtime stories, and I've read the Bible to them. I make up sometimes stories. So I guess I do read, just not adult books sometimes.
Well, sometime we'll have to make time for ourselves and read more. All right. Thank you, Carrie. Well, some remote workers in Joplin met yesterday to connect in the city that came in second place on Wall Street Journal's top 10 places for remote workers. Events like this are important to connect the remote workers who are in town. According to the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, officials say the central location and housing costs are some of the factors that attract remote workers. A lot of workers come to the area during the transition post-pandemic. That's according to chamber officials.
During the transition post-pandemic, allowed everyone to work remotely. So those families at that point in time really looked at their income and cost of living and thought, where could we go to leverage that?
The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce wants to support the remote workers in the area and is providing free day passes to the Joseph Newman Innovation Center in town today. On Wednesday, Missouri Southern student pitched ideas for projects to give back to the community. It's part of the MOSO CAPS program. Student advocates design capstone projects, either individually or as a group, that are service-minded and showcase creativity. Yesterday, the students pitched those ideas and people were able to vote on their favorites.
I think it's really important because I think it's important for the students to understand how you should give back to your community. You know, our communities give our students so much support, and so it's just a way of giving back.
People were able to vote for 3 categories: the best project, the best board design, and the best pitch interaction. Future Farmers of America students, or now known as the FFA, in Neosho, Missouri, got to showcase their green thumb. The group hosted its annual plant sale with all proceeds going back to the FFA. Wide variety of plants were up for grabs. All of them were cared for by the students over the past few months.
I've learned to really be appreciative of what you get to do and to be able to help all these people, even if you don't know them, it's still a great, amazing experience.
Little fact, in 1988, the Future Farmers of America officially changed its name to the National FFA Organization. The plant sale will continue today from 3 to 6 p.m. Some Carthage, Missouri elementary students stepped into the shoes of famous Missourians. Mark Twain Elementary hosted a live museum event where third graders showcased their knowledge. The students have prepared for the event for months by conducting research, creating costumes, and rehearsing their lines for their presentations. Teacher says the project gives the students a new sense of confidence.
They get more excited when it's finished because they don't think that they can do this, and they are amazed at what they've accomplished. So to look at them being tiny little second graders that just finished second grade, they come into third, and now look at them. They're young ladies and young men.
The event lasted 30 minutes. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, to rent or to buy? That's the age-old question. Now experts weigh in on which financial path leads to a better bargain.
And we're continuing to keep an eye on showers across the area. Some much needed rain still moving through the 4 states. We'll have the latest on that forecast here in just a couple more minutes. But first, here's another live look from behind the scenes here at KOAM. We'll be back right after this.
In Consumer Watch this morning, shares of Meta, Facebook parent company, jumped 12% Wednesday afternoon after its earnings far exceeded Wall Street analyst expectation. Meta says sales grew by 3% in the first quarter of the year. That's after 3 consecutive quarters of revenue declines. But when compared to last year, the news is not as impressive. Meta says first quarter profits are down more than 20% from the same time last year. Company is in the middle of a massive restructuring with more than 20,000 layoffs announced. First Republic Bank stock price plummet for a second day following Monday's disclosure that depositors withdrew more than $100 billion during last month's crisis. The New York Stock Exchange halted trading in the stock more than a dozen times yesterday as shares plunged nearly 30%. It's raised concerns over the bank's stability given the recent collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. This week, bank executives announced plans to get it on better footing, which includes selling off assets plus job and compensation cuts. And a new report shows that customer complaints about travel surged last year. U.S. Public Interest Research Group says the Department of Transportation, travel agents, and travel booking sites were slammed with nearly 80,000 complaints, especially regarding canceled or delayed flights. Frontier Airlines received the most complaints in 2022, with 20 for every 100,000 flyers. It was followed by Spirit Airlines, which had 10 complaints per every 100,000 customers. Well, many Americans dream of owning a home, but the combination of high prices and high mortgage rates has convinced some people that renting is a smarter bet. One survey shows, on average, the monthly cost of owning a home is now about $1,000 more than renting. Nancy Chen takes a look.
For Greg Morano, proposing to Kayla Lewis was an easy decision. The question that followed, not so straightforward: to rent or to buy.
We talked about it just in terms of apartment sizes, styles, locations. Then I think it kind of shifted to the home process.
It was actually a little bit more affordable than some of the apartments.
It's an age-old dilemma, and buying has long seemed the smarter financial move. But now, with interest rates still up, the median mortgage payment is more than $2,000 a month, a record high since 2009.
In major cities, it may be cheaper to rent instead of buy, like here in Boston, where the average monthly cost to own a home has gone up by more than 30% compared to a year ago.
Rent is also less than the monthly cost of home ownership in cities like Seattle, San Francisco, and Austin, according to Realtor.com. Chloe Moore had owned her Atlanta house for nearly a decade when she sold it in favor of renting.
Buying a house is not just a sticker price.
Absolutely. There's upfront costs and then there's ongoing costs. One of the things I like to say is that rent's the most that you'll pay and the mortgage is the least that you'll pay.
She would know. She's also a financial planner. Moore says you should only buy if you plan on staying in the home for 7 to 10 years. On top of the mortgage payment, you have at least 10% for the down payment, an additional 5% for closing costs, and at least 6 months' pay and savings for maintenance costs. And don't forget taxes. For Lewis and Morano, with the help of their realtor, they just closed on a home in northern New Jersey.
I think that's the dream everybody grows up with, right? It's one day hoping you have something you can call your own and finding your person, which I found mine.
Nancy Chen, CBS News.
Experts say you can also use the 28-36 rule to decide how much house you can afford. That's when you spend a maximum of 28% of your gross monthly income on housing and 38% of that income on all other debts. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've still got some scattered showers across the area, and as you can see, they're still scattered across the area, but we are getting some much needed rainfall. And as we've been talking about, there's that batch of more organized, heavier rain down across northeast Oklahoma toward Tulsa. All of that rotating around this low pressure system down across central Oklahoma, and it will continue to push off to the northeast and bring us more showers and maybe even a couple of thunderstorms as we go through our day. And these showers, possible thunderstorms, will stick with us all the way into the late afternoon hours, and as we push into the evening, start to see a few more isolated showers, and then they will pause, and we will stay dry actually as we head through the majority of our Friday. So there's those rain chances ramping up and then calming back down, and then tomorrow we spend the majority of the day dry and cloudy, and then rain chances pick up again tomorrow evening and overnight. Still got those wet roadways, still got some rain showers out there. We'll take a look at that full forecast here in just a few more minutes. We've got our daily run of celebrate. I can't read English, so I'm just going to tell you birthdays and anniversaries are coming up right after this, but we're going to go check what's happening on CBS Mornings as comedian Roy Wood Jr. is the entertainer at this year's White House Correspondents' Dinner. CBS's Vlad Duthier took a walk down memory lane with the rising star and learned where he got his start.
When I was in college, I'd take my joke book to church, and my mom used to get mad at me for doing it. So I would just write on the church program. Just premises would just fly in my head.
So a premise, like, something you notice in church, something you notice in school?
No, just the most indecent thing you can, non-Christian thought you can have. And I would just be like, ooh, that'll be good. But I just look at it as God giving me, I came to church to get my re-up on jokes.
Time for some Thursday birthdays across the 4 states, and we are going to begin with Blaine Brisbane celebrating birthday number 1. And it says, "We love you, Blaine. Happy birthday."
Oh, what a cutie. Cute smile there. Avon is celebrating 7 strong this year. Hope it's a wonderful birthday, Avon.
And Jackson Westervelt celebrating number 11 in Weir. Happy birthday, Jackson.
All right. In Columbus, Kennedy Bullard turning 18 years old this year. She's a senior at Columbus High School. Happy birthday from Mom and Dad.
And we've got Sean Darling celebrating birthday number 35. It says happy birthday from Alex and Brian. Happy birthday, Sean.
All right. Jim Campbell in Columbus. Happy birthday to the world's best husband. Love, Della.
And Sherry Burke in Parsons celebrating birthday number 75 with love from your sisters Judy and Debbie and all of your family.
All right, our birthday list goes on. We've got Elizabeth Wydick and Gerard. Happy birthday. Brianna Ferguson, wishing you a happy birthday as well.
And Karen Wildish, turning 77 in Fort Scott, says happy birthday from your daughter. And Brittany Robinson in Thayer, celebrating number 28. Very happy birthday to you all, and I know you want to celebrate with us. And Tanya can tell you what you need to do to celebrate with us.
We want to make this list as long as possible, and we like to see your pictures. If you can send them to us at this email, that would be great. Birthdays with an S at KOAMnewsnow.com.
And of course, while you're on our website checking out the latest headlines, weather, and sports, you can take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club, get great deals from local businesses, and you get a special message from your friends here at KOAM. So head over to KOAMnewsnow.com, sign up for that birthday club today. All right, we've got those scattered showers across the area. You can see where it's been raining in Joplin from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line, and you can see where it's been raining just south of Pittsburgh from the KDOT camera at 69 and 400, and we will have more rain throughout the day. And this is our best rain day in the sense that we're going to have rain for the majority of the day. 53 in Joplin, and I figured this out. This is a variable breeze at 3. The system doesn't understand what variable means, so that's why there wasn't a letter. Earlier it was east. All right, 50 in Iola, 53 Pittsburgh, Chetopa, 54 Miami, and 53 Neosho and Carthage. We get our day started. Showers, couple of rumbles of thunder possible. Between roughly 10 and 2, we could see winds increase a bit. And don't tear stuff up. Trevor's in our studio, and he's tearing up our expensive stuff. This is why we can't have nice things, is because of Trevor. Thank you. Thank you, Trevor. Winds could start gusting 20-25 miles an hour. As you see, our temperatures, though, don't move much. We're looking on average highs in the upper 50s. Could see a couple of 60-degree readings. Showers will start to break up and become more scattered and isolated as we head through the late afternoon, early evening. And as we head into tonight, we're left with mostly cloudy skies, dropping back down to 45 for our lows, so another chilly evening ahead of us. We spend most of our Friday dry but cloudy, and then around 7 o'clock or so, more showers and thunderstorms move in, and these will carry on overnight into very early Saturday morning before they clear out. And we're in the low 60s, by the way, mid-60s Friday, can't forget that. Low 60s, temperatures warming up as we head into next week. We do get a pause in the rain activity, partly cloudy skies pushing near 80 by Wednesday, and then more of this much-needed rain activity moving in by Thursday and Friday. Some showers and thunderstorms and keeping our temperatures a little on the cooler side, mid-70s, upper 60s. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. On Wednesday, Missouri Southern students pitched ideas for projects to give back to the community. As part of the MOSO CAPS program, student associates design capstone projects either individually or as a group that are service-minded and showcase creativity. Yesterday, the students pitched those ideas and people were able to vote on their favorites. FFA students in Neosho, Missouri got to showcase their green thumbs. The group hosted its annual plant sale with all proceeds going back to the FFA. Wide variety of plants were up for grabs, all of them cared for by the students over the past few months. A gathering in Parsons, Kansas on Wednesday marks the beginning of an exciting new tradition for Labette Health's former employees. They came together for a retiree brunch, sharing experiences, memories, and catching up. Labette Health also gave out a new award called the Becky Hunn Legacy Award. Hunn passed away in 2021. She was a registered nurse in Labette Health's ICU before her death. That award went to Martha Heisey. And it is National Library Week. This week not only celebrates books, but the people who work in libraries. Libraries are full of stories in a variety of ways, from books to audiobooks to ebooks and more. The theme for National Library Week is There's So Much More to the Story. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We'll continue to see scattered showers, a couple of thunderstorms as we go through the morning and into the afternoon hours. Could get a little breezy briefly, gusts 20-25 miles an hour. Temperatures, though, chilly, upper 50s, maybe a couple of 60-degree readings. We head into the evening and overnight. Rain will pause, at least briefly, and we'll drop back into the 40s for overnight lows. We'll have a cloudy day tomorrow, mid-60s, and then we'll see more showers and thunderstorms late Friday into early Saturday morning. We get a pause from the rain activity, partly cloudy skies, warming up to near 80 by the middle of next week with some additional much-needed rain chances by next Thursday and Friday.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making Italian antipasta grilled cheese in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. The first round of the NFL Draft kicks off in Kansas City tonight. And there's a chance of history being made with 3 black quarterbacks possibly taken in the top 10. Coming up on CBS Mornings, NFL Today host James Brown shares his interview with Anthony Richardson about the rise of black quarterbacks.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
We've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. In fact, something about anteaters and how lazy they can be, or at least how lazy one of them was. And I kind of feel, that is my spirit animal.
It's like, well, we learned yesterday that anteaters ride on their mom's back until they're like 10 months old.
Yeah.
And he does that to his wife.
I do. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
We're going to do it again today at noon.